Willie Contraband here, and welcome to Beyond Duality.
Beyond duality, three eyes in a circle. Willie Contraband, no soul, controversial. Facts on facts, but my name's not Urkel. Hit 'em where it hurts till their heart turns purple. They say they got your back.
Alright, how you doing? How you doing? Welcome to Beyond Duality. I'm Willie Contraband. I appreciate you for tuning in. If you would like a personalized reading for your eyes only, go to williecontraband.com/guidance and I'll hook you up there, alright? Alright, let's get right into it, guys. Happy Taurus season. Happy eclipse season. Happy whole bunch of crazy stuff happening season. Yeah, let's get right into it. Main focus points. I got the chart pulled up for me for the moment I'm in right now, which is April 22nd, 2:18 p.m. Eastern Time, Europe. But I'm gonna skip through the next few weeks. Well, actually the next week. So next few days, I meant to say. And see how the energies are looking like. Today on this fine Friday, April 22nd, there's a lot going on in Taurus and there's a lot going on in Pisces. So what does this mean for all of us, for the collective? But at the same time, what does this mean as well for Pisces and Taurus? I'll start off with the collective, and I would say, first of all, it's Taurus season because the sun is in the constellation in the sign of Taurus. So every time the sun is in a certain sign, it's that sign season in that constellation. So that's why when it's Aries season, it's because the sun's in Aries. When it's Taurus season, it's because the sun's in Taurus, etc., etc. So we just got into it these last couple of days. The sun's at 2 degrees in Taurus right now. So 420 for all my herbal heads. That's the start of Taurus season. And doesn't it make sense? 420 is the beginning of Taurus season. We gotta like get back to our earthly nature. So the sun is in Taurus along with Uranus, along with Mercury, along with the North Node. This is crazy. What this is emphasizing right now for the collective is that, all right, first of all, sun being in Taurus, there's our focus, our consciousness. It's on, we want to ground our energy right now. You know, we want to get more in tune with nature. And whether that's like your main focus or the main thing on your conscious, or it's rising as we speak to your consciousness. Like your body is telling, you know, your brain, your mind, hey, I need this, I want this, I desire this. Taurus is very much desire because the ruler of Taurus is Venus. So Venus is very 3D, very sensible, like, you know, how can I say, like touch, feeling. All those are big Taurus, Venus, Venetian qualities. So your senses are going to be heightened right now. There might be more craving of physical touch or physical affirmations, being face to face with people, connecting and socializing. Even though that's Venus, she's more of a social butterfly in Libra. In Taurus, it's the energy of like, you know, looking good and feeling good and people appreciating that, you know, people being able to see you and applaud you and admire you. But what I would say right now, while there's energy in here, and talking about Venus, Venus is actually, you know, the ruler of Taurus, but Venus is in Pisces right now, which is pretty interesting because Venus is in exaltation in Pisces. So Venus, the ruler of Taurus, being in Pisces, they're making a good aspect right now. You know, it's called the sextile, but these elements mesh. Earth and water are good for each other. So Pisces got a whole bunch of stuff going on too, where there's Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, like I just mentioned, and Mars, they're all in Pisces. So we have all these planets in Pisces, all these planets in Taurus. Really, the universe is pushing us, especially that it's eclipse season right now, too. The universe is pushing us to change our lives. Um, and more than anything, you got to think of like the process of Earth and water coming together in terms of uh, Earth could be very hard, very stubborn. It could be very fixated at times, especially Taurus could be very fixated. It could be, solid, dense, and all this water comes and makes that hard Earth soft, makes that dirt, those clumps of dirt, those rocks, whatever, makes it soft. It turns hard dirt into fucking mud, squishy mud that you could do a whole bunch of stuff and it's easier to move that. So all this earth energy, because we are earth energy, well, we're pretty much earth and water for the most part, and then we got all these other carbon, air, we got a fire within us, etc., all these different elements, but earth and water are most prominent. So right now it's saying that like we have to change our ways. We have to change our hard, dense dirt into mud. We got to add this water, these feelings, these emotions, your soul into certain dense things in the physical realm so that we could easily grab that mud and mold it into what we want. And the fact that we're in eclipse season is bringing emphasis on change. It's bringing emphasis on energy shifting and you being grounded enough, but at the same time having enough water that groundedness can move together. So like earth dirt is stays in one spot unless someone comes with a shovel and forces it and digs that shit up. But when there's water involved, that dirt gets muddy, you could literally just grab the mud, it's still all together, and bring it to another place. So this is a time that's saying things that seemed concrete in our life might not be concrete anymore. Things that seem like a staple in our lives, maybe those staples are getting loose now. It also calls for new versions of ourselves. So pretty much one of the biggest things is that with eclipse season coming, bringing drastic shifts, drastic change with this water and earth energy, is calling for new versions of ourselves, new characters that are going to play in our story. We're in new timelines now. It's already happening, but we can't see it just yet, but it's rising to the surface slowly but surely. Um, so all this self-awareness that comes with it too, like being aware that things are changing underneath the surface right now, underneath all that dirt. That's why we need water. We need all these seeds to grow. We need all these plants to arise. We need all these flowers to bloom, to boom as well. Boom, baby. But this calls for newer versions of ourselves to act differently. This calls for us to be mutable and transmute the way we move and the way we go about things. You know, we're still pretty much in the beginning of the year. This is the new year, astrologically speaking. Aries season comes in Taurus and Gemini. That's the first quarter of the year. So we're still in the beginning of the year, and this is a time for all the energy that has been starting to, build within us, especially from Aries season, all that fire, all the creativity, all the ideas we're getting, all the opportunities that might be popping up for a lot of us. Um, we got to find a way to be able to detach because Saturn is still in Aquarius, right? So Saturn being Aquarius, Aquarius is about detachment and Saturn's about discipline. So having the discipline to for us to detach from who we used to be or who we think we are or who we identify as. Um, you know, one of the biggest things in our lives is that we all create ourselves as characters in our story, and we continue to tell ourselves these stories that we created of ourselves over and over again to the point that the stories are stored into our storage and we believe it. even when we begin to change and life starts to change around us and our inner selves, our inner children begin to play and imagination comes out and things are transitioning in our lives, we hold on and we stay attached to that character we've been in our stories. And we're attached to the storyline of our stories. Um, all I can say is right now, especially with the North Node in Taurus, with all this energy happening in Taurus and a good aspect to Pisces, with all this water, um, it's calling for us to move into a new place within and outside of ourselves, because North Node is about where your soul is going, and in this case is collectively, you know, um, where are we all going? What direction are we heading in? You know, as well in Taurus, because Taurus rules our values. The things that we value are changing. Um, a good example, it's like, you can see the old paradigm falling apart in terms of like what we used to value was more like, monetary things. Like, money's still important for a lot of people, but the value of money is changing. What we identify as money and what do we call money or what do we use as money. A good example is that a lot of things are going back to a former system of bartering and trading. There's a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of creatives, a lot of people that are becoming self-sufficient, and with that comes the ability to trade services and skills. Um, I've been saying this for years, but this is going to be one of the most important times in history where we could take our power back by not depending so much on the value of what we always thought was important and valuing things that are important, such as self sufficiency with people that are creating things and that could exchange that energy, exchange that services, because that's what we do with money. Money is an exchange of energy. You go to work, you work for someone, you exchange your time, they give you money, then you take your money and give it to someone else that exchanged your time to create a service or create a product, etc., etc. And you use that time, which turned into money to you, exchanged into money to you. You exchange that money for someone else's energy. You know what I mean? So these times where we're becoming self-sufficiency with Uranus and Taurus, this is what's been happening the last 6 to 8 years. um, we're learning that, all right, I value money differently. Maybe, money's still important, but maybe I save money and I try to use a certain service or a certain trade or a certain skill that I have to, build a credit or build rapport with people so that in return, they can help me out. It's about building relationships. The values of relationships are changing. Venus is about relationships. Um, so value is changing. Taurus is also about security, feeling secured. That's where the earth grounded energy is. Like when you're grounded, you feel safe. When you're grounded, you feel good. You feel in a good place. So being grounded and security, which kind of comes with physical things, like feeling secured and safe comes with basic human essentials and needs. Well, necessities in terms of like, all right, do you have access to water? Do you have access to a place to sleep? Do you have access to food? Those are usually like the main foundational things, like, being able to eat, have water, clothes, somewhere to sleep. So the security is changing as well, things that help us feel secured, and the comparison, say, with value and security, comes from, like, say, back in the day where we would value maybe, at least in like pop culture, having the most expensive shirt or brand name belt or whatever, like Gucci or Louis, Fendi, whatever, Balenciaga. These things are still prevalent, but you can see there's a shift, there's a change coming from, like, there's not as many people focused on that in terms of like people that value that and are gonna spend their hard-earned money on that. So now where people are like, I value more of like spending that money on things that make me feel good, experiences, food, like healthy food, things that feed my spirit, supporting a local business. So our values are changing. Our security is changing in terms of what we feel like we need to feel secured, to have like that root chakra like stabilized, which plays in making sure we're grounded. Um, Another thing I want to touch on is Venus is gonna conjunct Neptune and Jupiter. And conjunction means when planets come together, they conjoin, um, like a junction. So the conjunction brings them together. And what happens is conjunctions are powerful. A lot of people are scared of them or say they might bring negative aspects. And everything is duality. That's why we're here in Beyond Duality, trying to go beyond the duality of seeing things as good or bad, but just seeing where the strengths and weaknesses are and how we should be prepared for it. So Venus is about to conjunct Neptune and Jupiter soon, and Neptune and Jupiter just finished conjuncting, and they're still kind of have the residue of that good vibration. Um, but Venus coming now, she's in Pisces. She's happy. There's no boundaries for her. She's like, I feel beautiful even when I just wake up. I feel like I'm rich even when I only have a few dollars in my bank account. I'm balling. Venus is very happy in Pisces. So her coming into conjunction with Neptune and Jupiter, I know when she comes with Neptune, that's gonna be very like loving energy, because Neptune's actually the higher octave of Venus, because Neptune is like about illusions and dreams, and also about subconscious and having making things look pretty. That's why it's like an illusion or it's a dream, because you almost think it's not real. Like, so good to be true. It's too good to be true. So Venus loves that, and Venus coming together with Neptune is going to make everything very dreamy. Relationships as well, partnerships, um, especially in Pisces, is going to make the collective feel connected. The collective feel connected. Um, so that's going to play a role these next couple weeks. Especially we got the eclipse coming in a couple weeks. I'm gonna have a video for that for sure. We got April 30th an eclipse, which is next week. Oh crap! All right, yeah, man. So there's a lot of change, but it's also us being able to trust the change that's coming, being able to let go, to be able to be receptive of the energy that's coming. Because when Venus gets with Neptune, is gonna there's could be a lot of blessings coming, or at least not blessings that manifest like in the physical right away, but blessings in terms of like visualizations, like the visuals that will come into your imagination, which if it happens here, it can happen out here. They say life happens twice. First it happens here, and then it happens outside. So it's like we have to see these things, and Venus and Neptune will give us a glimpse or a whole bunch of fucking downloads to be able to be like, all right, this is where my life's going. I'm good. I feel good. I just gotta stay focused. Sun and Taurus, staying focused, staying grounded, gradually working up to your goal, not speeding through it like Aries. That Aries just wants to get it done. Aries like, nah, nah, nah. I thought of it. It has to happen right now. Let me go get it. Um, so Sun and Taurus gradually allows us to build towards our goals. Venus and Neptune is going to give us the that glimpse, those flash forwards. You ever hear flashbacks? Well, we're about to get flash forwards, especially with the eclipse coming, because life is changing as we know it. It might be a little intense at the same time, but this is where the Venus Neptune conjoining illusionary dream loving energy comes in, where it's like gotta just let go and trust, because you're gonna get a little glimpse. Most of the time is gonna feel crazy. Most of the time is gonna feel overwhelming. Um, but trusting that it's like we're in the process of letting go a lot of shit that doesn't serve us no more. Venus and Neptune are gonna allow you to dream the dream, love the dream, and keep the dream in your pocket. Because Venus is very like loving and very like woo and sparkly, but at the same time it's physical. So that's the beneficial things of the benefit planet. The Jupiter and Venus are the benefit planets. Venus brings that element of physicality, of materialization. Then after Venus and Neptune come together and conjoin in Pisces, Venus is going to catch up to Jupiter. And that's going to be an amazing day. And that's might be where you do start seeing things materialize, and you do start seeing things in the physical, you know. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. Jupiter's at home in Pisces. Venus is exaltation in Pisces. So this is just big, big energy, happy, positive, high vibration energy. Might be very indulgent energy, so be careful, because even something too much of something good is not good. I'm a water fanatic. I love water. Water is life, but too much water will also drown you. You feel me? So always being aware of that. But Venus and Jupiter coming together in Pisces and blasting that aspect of a sextile to Taurus, because Taurus got a lot going on and Pisces got a lot going on, but they coexist, they mesh very well. Um, all I can say is a lot of change coming in the physical, a lot of change coming into our mental, and we're gonna have to embody these things. It's gonna be a little tough because in the middle of all these energies, we got Chiron in Aries, which Aries is in the middle of Pisces and Taurus. So Chiron is, they call Chiron the wounded healer. So Chiron being the wounded healer, um, it's gonna confuse us a little bit, because we're here like, all right, things are changing. I'm feeling a little crazy. I'm feeling overwhelmed. Things are intense, but at the same time, I'm feeling optimistic. I'm feeling like, yeah, things are really happening right now. I'm feeling like also, I can make my dreams possible. Like, you could feel the sense of things are changing, things are transitioning. You can feel the sense of you're not the same person no more. You could feel the sense that like life is about to start looking different a little bit. But at the same time, Chiron being there, Chiron's gonna remind us of our wounds. Chiron's gonna remind us, especially in Aries, spontaneous, erratic, feelings might arise, or wounds might get activated, especially when all these planets start passing over it. When we get Jupiter, Neptune, Venus, and Mars start passing over Chiron and Aries, you know, it's gonna bring confusion, because it's like you're gonna like it's like the body keeps the score. And I don't know if you guys ever heard of that. The body keeps the score, as in like, whether it's good or bad, uh your body remembers everything that happens, even if you are not mentally consciously aware at the moment. Your body holds trauma, it holds memories. So Chiron is kind of that. Chiron keeps the score, you know. Chiron remembers everything because it's so determined to heal, but the wounds are so deep that you try to find healing through other people, or try to find healing for other people, trying to heal other people. But what I would say in this instance is like life is changing. We're becoming new characters in our story. Our stories are changing. These wounds that are going to remind us of our old story are going to pop up. And all we have to do at those moments is being able to identify it, feel it, let it go, know that you're in a different place in your life right now. A lot of things are going to try to come back and trigger and activate old timelines, because that's how the devil works. Higher level, higher devil. When things are changing and we're moving to higher timelines, something's going to try to bring you down. Something's going to try to make sure you don't move forward. And usually this battle is internal. So just know when that arises is not because it's a fresh wound. It's because it's actually healing. So definitely keep that in mind. Other than that, I don't want to go too deep today, because these next couple weeks is a lot of deep stuff to dive into. But the last thing I wanted to touch on before I go into the tarot cards are um, the moon and Pluto conjuncting Capricorn for this next about day, 2 days or so. The moon moves through signs 2.5 days, so in and out she goes. But the moon's in Capricorn, Pluto's in the last 2 degrees of Capricorn. I'm gonna close this off before we get to the tarot reading, but I want to say is first of all, the moon's in detriment in Capricorn. which is okay for any Capricorn moons. I got a lot of Capricorn moons in my life. But the thing is, Pluto's in there, and Pluto is the one that's destroying everything right now of life as we know it. Pluto is bringing our rebirth. Um, Pluto is actually also about to go retrograde, which is about to make these timelines a little crazy. Not crazy, a little intense. Pluto is a very intense planet. So with the moon right here, I want to say that at this very moment, it's emotionally we might feel a little closed. Emotionally, we might feel like things are not safe. Emotionally, we might feel like there's more that you have to do. Emotionally, it might feel like you're losing grip or losing control, losing power of yourself or things around you. So I just want to plant the seed, make sure you guys stabilize emotions. And there's a lot of ways to go through that. It's just important in this space that it's next to Pluto and it's in Capricorn because it's a detrimental energy. So, really, what that means is that it's going to bring energies, feelings, emotions, elements into you that are going to make you feel on the lower level, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's just more, it brings more density, so the lower levels are more dense. So we're gonna have to emotionally decipher things and distinguish things, and figure out what we're feeling and if that's actually what's real or not. Because while this Capricorn energy, that's in a good aspect to all the Pisces energy, and it's in a trine to Taurus, so it's gonna be intense, but at the same time, it's gonna bring to our attention a lot of things. Our emotions, be aware of your emotions right now, because it's gonna bring to your attention where you don't have power in your life. And that doesn't mean, oh, because you don't have power in your life in that certain area, that's bad. That gives you the identification that that's something you have to focus on. So none of this is in a bad light in terms of like, hey, something bad's gonna happen. It's just gonna feel like bad. And sometimes blessings come in disguises. Sometimes it looks and feels bad, but then you see over time it was for your best self. It was for the greater good of you. Um, and that's why it's important also to study your timeline, study your own history, not just history about what's going on in the world, but history of your life. How what happened last time Jupiter was in Pisces in your life 12 years ago. Go check that shit out. Go check out what happened last year around this time when the sun was in Taurus. Check out what happens every time the moon's in Capricorn. You got to put down these timelines for yourself so you could go back and you could study yourself. Because then that's how you know when certain things get triggered or certain things happen. They say history repeats itself, so why not learn your own history? And that doesn't just mean like your ancestral history or where your family comes from. Like, what has been happening in your life the last 5, 10, 15, 20 years plus, because a lot of us go through similar orbits. A lot of us go through similar patterns throughout our time. So we want to catch these things because that's what astrology is also a tool for. This is mathematics, it's science, it's, a way to determine the energy that's going on presently, but also how is this going to dictate things moving forward? How did this affect me in the past? This is where we are, it's a great tool to be multidimensional with. So definitely keep check on your emotions in terms of like, don't be like, I gotta cut my emotions off, because that's what Capricorn moon will do. Is like, all right, I'm gonna go cold. Fuck this. It's more of, all right, I see what's happening. Okay, I feel like that. I'm gonna feel that right now. I might sleep this off. Let me see how I feel when I wake up. Wake up and you realize like, I was tripping. I was just feeling that shit. And it's okay to feel. It's just not in your best benefit to hold on to what you feel. You feel me? But as that, let's get into some tarot. From the Astro to the Tarot. Got the new vision cards for my newcomers. Not a lot of people use this. For my contrabandits, yeah, I already know about the new vision. All right, 2 cards dropped. I'm waiting for another card. I just shuffle. Ooh, all right, that came out quick. I just shuffle and let it pop out. Let the universe pick for me. We got 3 cards. We're gonna go through it together. Um, First card. Let's see. 9 of Swords. All right, check that out. 9 of Swords. This is literally what we were just talking about. I don't make this shit up. This is literally what we were just talking about. Look at these demons playing tricks with your mind. Like I said, swords is air energy. Air is mental energy. And this is literally what I was just explaining. Some things might not feel good. They might not look good. Blessings in disguise. These swords are to cut through certain things. Sometimes we have to have this illusionary effect where it's like Neptune, sextile Mercury, where it's like all these illusions are messing with our brain because they're like, am I really seeing this? And sometimes you really are. But sometimes what you're seeing doesn't match up with what you're feeling. So 9 of Swords is like, get your rest. Like we just said, sleep it off. Don't stay up in bed all night just thinking, trying to really rest, even if you actually go to sleep or you don't. But it's also saying don't let these tricks, these mind tricks get the best of you, realizing that, like, all right, maybe I don't know exactly what's going on right now. I don't know why I'm feeling this. I don't know why I'm thinking this, but it's okay because I trust that this is not coming from me. This is just something that's coming, passing along. 9 of Swords also deals with dealing with your demons, which your demons demonstrate through you. You know how they say demons overtake the physical. They need something physical to embody. So demons is to demonstrate, you know. They demonstrate certain acts through us or through other people so that we could learn, you know. We could learn what is good, what is not, so we could learn how to decipher and distinguish through certain types of energies. Because we're in a system of duality, so not everything that looks good is good for you. Not all this love and light shit is good for you, you know. And same thing on the other side, we're always afraid of the darkness, but the darkness is where we all come from. We think the darkness is bad and everything in the darkness is bad, and it's not really like that. There's a lot of beneficial things in the darkness. There's a lot of information and things that get created and derived from the darkness. The darkness is silence. The darkness is the unknown. But in our generation, we don't like that. That doesn't feel good to us, but that's really more beneficial for us than always fucking throwing all this information and love and light and not being able to distinguish who's real and who's not. Just because you're saying love and light and everyone wants to be on a positive like wavelength doesn't really mean that they're positive or what they're doing is positive for you. We're talking about the darkness. Isn't always bad. Shadow work. Everybody wants to do light work. Everybody wants to be a light worker. But how about your shadow work? That's why you still got all this residue. So this residue only goes away when you clean it. You laying in bed and thinking that these things are going to go away, or thinking what you're feeling and what you're thinking is bad, just give it space. Take a couple steps back, feel it, cry, be mad. None of that is bad. We always think being sad, crying, anger, frustration, that all that's bad. No, those are identifiers. It's trying to say something to us. It's trying to tell us where we're at, So take that 9 of Swords, use all them swords, cut through all this bullshit. After that, 8 of Pentacles. This Venus Taurus energy, which is like, get to work, motherfuckers. So all that we're feeling and thinking and blah blah blah, work through it. If sometimes what happens is you got to keep the mind busy. You got to keep the mind occupied. This is why they say being bored is dangerous. And I feel like a lot of people are bored and don't even know it because we're always looking for something to hold our attention, to stimulate our brain. We're on our phones, on the internet all the time. And then sometimes it's like you don't even know you're bored, and now you're so bored, your brain is playing tricks on you. It's creating all these scenarios, creating false settings, false environments, false feelings. Especially there's a lot of empaths right now, so we have to be able to identify what is us feeling us and what is us feeling something that's not us. You know what I mean? And this comes with it. That Sun in Taurus energy. Sun is the focus, the consciousness. Where's your consciousness right now? And when people hear consciousness, you think woke. You don't even know what woke is. Nobody's really woke. So let's get past woke being conscious. Consciousness is really more of where your attention's at, where's your focus at, what is in the forefront of your mind, of your brain. Put your conscious to what you want to create, what life you want to create for yourself and for the people around you, because you're not alone here, you know? There's multiple parties, so what's your focus on? Create, because that's going to allow you to distinguish all this that you're feeling, things that are not tangible, things that are not in the physical realm. You can work through it in the physical realm, whether it is shadow work, you know, and you got to do internal stuff, or if you're trying to create a business or you have a creative venture that you want to go on, whatever it is, get to work. And that doesn't mean work and like a maniac and get to work and you're working 15, 16 hours a day, because Taurus don't like that. Taurus could do it, but Taurus gradually builds itself there. So it's taking all these things you're feeling, all these things you're thinking that might be beneficial to you, but might also be getting you out of whack. Channel that shit, you know, do something physical. You need physical activity. And like I said, it doesn't necessarily have to be nothing big. It just has to be something that occupies your mind so that you're not drifting off, because in these times right now, Uranus and Taurus is just keeping everything unstable. Like everything's unstable right now. Nothing's for sure in our lives. Maybe sometimes we go through a season and it's like, yeah, things been going good, and then boom, something changes. You know, since our 2020 timelines, we're in a different realm now. We're in a different dimension. This is quantum time. We're not in the same type of time. And Uranus is doing that in Taurus in our physical world. So occupying your brain by doing some physical activity, focusing your conscious, putting your conscious efforts into something that's daily, that's going to help you. At least that if everything around you is not stable and everything around you is changing, even when you're changing, at least there's one thing in your life that doesn't change. And that's whatever you want to focus on right now. It could be like, yo, I know something that's really good for people is like art, like painting, you know, coloring, drawing. No matter what the fuck is going on in your day, in your week, in your month, in your life, at least you could draw. At least you could go paint that picture when you get home, or whatever it is. You know, that's just an example. But we need something to bring ourselves that stability, you know, that we're missing. And that's what's gonna happen, because the unstableness is mental. You know, Uranus is the higher octave of Mercury. Uranus is very mental air sign, you know, or element, not even a sign, but it's a planet, but it has its own elements. Same thing like Earth has the elements of water and fire and all this. Uranus is like lightning. It's the skies, it's the heavens. So lightning comes in and out. You don't even know when lightning's gonna strike, and that's the unstableness that is in our minds at times. That sometimes you don't know when something, these demons or the bad thoughts are gonna strike, but sometimes you don't know when you're about to get that $1 billion idea, that $1 million idea, that genius archetype type of energy that Uranus brings. But you need one thing in the physical that you go to always focus on and bring your consciousness to, so that it can stabilize you in the moment. Because right now, longevity wise, long term, there's no stable energy until Uranus leaves Taurus in 2026, I think. Just being honest. Anyways, so we're talking about all these feelings, these thoughts, unstableness, things coming in and out. They might not be yours. A lot of empaths out here that are feeling everything outside of themselves. Ground yourself. Focus on something that keeps you stable. You know, stability is groundedness. You know, it's like you see a tree and it could be a lot of wind. That Uranus, Mercury, Libra, Air, Gemini, Aquarius energy could be, and that tree, that earth energy is all over the place. But its roots, strong, they're stable, because that tree only focuses on one thing, keeping the roots strong, making sure they got its nutrients. You know what I'm saying? If it don't, it hits up its tree down the street. Yo, bruh, send me some nutrients under these roots, blah, 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 because they're all connected under there. So you need something that keeps you connected and keeps you rooted. That will stabilize your life in a time where a lot of things are unstable. And then last card, more air energy. There's a lot of not Aquarius, Uranus, Taurus energy going on right here. We're talking about air, and then earth. I'm not making this fucking shit up. Knave of Swords, Knave of Air, Knave of Words, Knave of Mental. Knave is almost like naive, right? But I like to say naive and naive is not like you stupid or you don't know, but it's the beginning of something. It's the beginning of you learning. And also, if you see right here, this guy stepping on a head. And whose head is that? That's his head. That's his old head. I'm not making this shit up. We talking about in the video new versions of ourselves, higher versions of ourselves. Look how high he is above his old mentality. You know, look how high he is above all the bullshit, rising above everything that's going on and trying to see things for what they really are. You know, so Knave of Swords talks really about how we kind of started this, talking about newer versions of ourselves, these higher versions of ourselves, new mentalities that we gotta adapt and we have to adjust right now. You know, eclipse season is here, baby. Taurus season is here. There's a lot of changes. There's a lot of um, change that's gonna become evident. There's a lot of growth involved in this season as well. Um, and everything connects to the mind. You know, the mind is the universe. They say the universe is mental. So when we're talking about that, Knave of Swords, it's like embrace what's here, you know, and not that you could really forget everything that happened, but don't keep carrying these things on. You know, be light, because that's where everybody want to be, right? Y'all want to be love and light. Light workers be light, and that's not just in terms of light and brightness, light and weight. Be light. We gotta stop carrying so much things, you know, changing our mentalities because, like it or not, we're in the matrix. They say the universe is mental, so it's like if you're not feeling good and you're not thinking good things and you hold on to that, it's gonna just show a whole bunch of confirmation and alignment of that negative aspect all around you, you know, whether it's real or not. This is how trippy this world is, you know, that it's like whether we're thinking something good or bad, if we give into that thought, that feeling, even if it's fear, and fear to me, FEAR, fear is false evidence appearing real. Because even if you have all these bad thoughts, the demons are playing games and shit, having these bad feelings, and you know you can't just feel it and let them keep going, let it go. If you hold on to that and you keep thinking like, why am I thinking this, why am I feeling like this, why is this happening, but nothing around you is happening, but the more you keep that, the more things are going to show you evidence to confirm, oh no, you're not crazy, you're not crazy, look what's happening. But really, it's just we're in the matrix. That's how things, you know, manifest. It doesn't matter whether you want it or you don't want it. The universe still gives it to you if you're radiating and emitting that vibration. You know, like attracts like. Whatever state you're in terms of your frequency, you're gonna attract something that looks different in that same frequency. You know, so this is really talks about being free, mentally free, your sovereignty in a way, you know, where the battle is really within. The battle is us finding cheat codes and stabilizing ourselves. The battle is us finding ways to be grounded in a time where nothing is assisting us in being grounded. Even all this energy in Taurus is not grounded. We got the sun, Uranus, Mercury, North Node. Just Uranus and Mercury alone, that's not gonna bring no groundedness. So we have to find our own ways to ground ourselves in these times. And that takes us letting go of the way we used to think, the way we used to move, and move in a different way to get new results, you know, new mentality. Because if they say the universe is mental, then why not just change the way we thinking? It's not that easy though. And that's why we have to give ourselves assistance. I call it cheat codes, you know, even though there's no such thing as cheat codes in terms of cheating your way through life. But this is little cheat codes, little life hacks of like, you got to find a way to set yourself up, you know, because everything out here externally is meant to set us up and not the best way. So we want to set us up in the greatest way because we're not going to hurt ourselves. But also is bringing that awareness, that sun in Taurus, that consciousness to the things that we do have to change. And like I said, Taurus is not a sign that changes everything all at once. It's gradual growth. So we want to make sure that we figure out what it is we need to change and what is changing, because things are changing either way, whether you like it or not. But we want to find out those things, being able to identify those things so we could assist the change. Because us as humans, one of the craziest fucking flaws we have, for the most part, most of us, is that we don't embrace change. We'll do anything for things not to change, you know? Especially when life is really good, especially when things are going good, you know? Sometimes we want life to change when things are really bad, but even when things start to change, we still get afraid, we still get scared. And it's like, but this is what I want. Why am I acting like this? But it's just, you know, attachment. We're humans. What are we gonna do? But anyways, that's all I got for you guys today. That's my food for thoughts. If you may feed me back, let me know how it goes. If I'm crazy, if I'm not, if it resonates or what. Comment down below. Let me know what's up. Tell a friend to tell a friend. This is some good shit. You wanna, you know, spread the wealth, spread the knowledge. But remember, we got the new channel coming up, the Swim Network. So that's in the description. Please subscribe. And I'll see y'all next week. Much peace. Much love.
They got you thinking that I'm dying, quoting all my songs, telling you that I'm lying, throwing all the truth, cause the truth will always find you. No matter where you go is always right there behind you. See the shiny lights is only really there to blind you. Crazy how the stars in the sky could define you. Crazy how the stars in the sky could define you.